Welcome back to the Command Center. Y'all see what it is. Another episode of Matthew's Retro Hour. You dig. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at Star Fox. You understand me? And we're going to relinquish you to video game historian. You dig. You understand me? Here we go. You dig. And we got Mr. Matthew over here in the building. And hold up, we're gonna get you guys. Yeah, Mr. Matthew. Yeah.
Welcome back to Matthew's Retro Alley.
Okay.
We are on episode 3.
Okay.
And we are covering a very special game.
Okay, what we talking about tonight?
Star Fox.
Oh my God.
Not 64, the original, 1993.
1990.
For the SNES system with that Super FX chip. Gonna be talking about that a little bit. Oh yeah, I know a lot of people love this game. It's the thing that started the whole Star Fox series, made him an icon and a member of the Nintendo team.
Ooh, really?
Yes. I consider him one of their main mascots. I wish they released more games.
I thought they were
him.
gonna do him as a mascot character at first.
He kind of comes and goes, you know. Compared to Mario and Zelda, he's kind of taking the third wheel. He's gotten the Metroid treatment.
Oh my God.
Now, first we're going to dive into a little bit of history of Star Fox. Oh, and for people in Europe, Starwing.
Starwing, yeah, it is. I noticed that today.
It's Starwing in Europe because there's a company in Germany called Starvox, and Nintendo did not want a legal dispute with Starvox.
What it is.
No, they did not.
That's what it was.
Star Fox wasn't originally like his origins don't come from Nintendo themselves. They come from a third party company called Argonaut Games, which formed a partnership with Nintendo to make both the chip. Hardware enhancement for the SNES and the Star Fox game.
Really?
So we're going to go back to 1982, and there's a teenager from Britain named Jez San, initial J San, and he has made a game studio called Argonaut. J San and the Argonauts, get it? Okay. 1982. He's a teenager. He founds a studio all by himself, and it's doing okay. He basically knows assembly language, several other coding languages. He's a computer whiz, another computer genius, like the guy who created like the guy who created a Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
And by 1986, he had created a 3D space shooter called Star Glider, and then he did Star Glider 2 a couple years later.
Oh my God.
And a couple years after that, he did something very special. He broke the copyright infringement technology on the Game Boy, which Nintendo did not think...
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. Every single Game Boy game starts out with Nintendo sliding down on the screen, and he found out a way to put Argonaut, which he it's interesting what... by the way, all this information, the history, the technical stuff, the Star Fox, I got it all from Wikipedia, so you can look this up for yourself and check it out. And I do recommend you check it out. So, by 1990, he wasn't alone anymore. He had a few people with him, and they did some crazy stuff. They broke down the Game Boy. They didn't get a developer's kit. Nintendo would not give them one. So they took apart the Game Boy, they took it out, and they had to make their own custom board by melting plastic in a bathtub full of acid. Really janky stuff, and having to wire that up, and they hacked the Game Boy by reverse engineering all its code and circuit boards in there. And when Nintendo, well, you'd think that Nintendo, our modern Nintendo, might not have been as generous as 1990 Nintendo, because 1990 Nintendo said, "Wow, that's neat. We should form a partnership."
Oh, really?
I can't imagine them doing that today, honestly. But they formed a partnership. One of the few times they've done that. With a third-party developer, so you have the developer in Britain, and then you have development team in Nintendo.
Okay.
And the next thing that Argonaut does to impress them is take their Star Glider game and start running it. First, they ran it on the NES. They actually got it running on the
NES?
On the Nintendo Entertainment System, the one from 1985.
Man!
Yeah. And it ran at about 2 or 3 frames per second. Then they did it on the SNES, which was a prototype then because the console had not come out yet. It ran 10 frames per second. And, well, neither Nintendo nor Argonaut was satisfied, and Argonaut took this opportunity to say, what if we developed an enhancement chip for your system?
Oh my God.
Put it directly in the cartridge. That is the origin of the Super FX chip, which is codenamed, and the original ones were printed with this name on the chip itself, Mario.
Really?
Yeah, it's an acronym. The acronym is actually escaping me right now, but it's an acronym. It's actually a backronym because it was they did it after the fact. So, but like after they developed the chip and right before release, they started putting Mario and making the acronym there. But the Super FX chip was bundled was in the Star Fox cartridge. Had to be just to make it work. Yeah. And the Super FX chip is a real accomplishment because it allowed 3D graphics and 2D sprites. It did 2D and 3D, even though we're focusing on the 3D aspects today. Because what you did, you went from Starglider and Starglider 2, which were PC games, and they did wireframe graphics and and then polygon 3D.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to do full polygon 3D with shading and effects and all that on the SNES. With the Super FX chip. So Argonaut took everything they learned from that point, from the beginning, and brought it into the SNES. And they were actually but they did not actually come up with the Star Fox character. Fox McCloud and his team were made by Mr. Miyamoto of Zelda and Mario fame.
Oh, Mr. Miyamoto made Star Fox too?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
They were all like Argonaut was doing the technical stuff, the engine, and stuff like that, and the technology for the Starglider technology, the 3D space shooter. But Miyamoto came up with the character designs, the R-wing, and the story. The story is actually based on a Japanese telling of the dog versus the monkey, which is the battle, that's taking place, and then there's the fox that helps out. He actually was visiting Japanese shrines. I believe it's the Shobin Tori, Shobin Tori shrine, I believe. The gate shrines. The orange gate.
Okay.
Yes. And that's where he got the idea of the on-rail shooter. That's where Miyamoto got that about a player having a limited scope of going down in like a tunnel light and firing on the enemies. So he liked that better than the original Starglider games, which Argonaut had made, which were completely open. And Miyamoto wanted the focus. Of course. Yeah. And he also didn't want human characters because that was very popular in Japanese fiction at the time. Science fiction, giant robots in space, fighters in space, war in space, very traditional science fiction. He wanted something cuter, and he was convinced that would sell well. Yeah. Well, it sold well.
It sold very well.
It sold over 1 million copies.
I picked up a copy.
Over 1 million copies in just a few months, and it came out in Japan in February of 1993, came out in North America in March of 1993, and later that year in Europe and the rest of the globe. But there's something very special about its deployment. The Super Star Fox Championship, the competition.
Oh yeah, yes. I remember that competition.
Over 2,000 retail stores participated in America alone. Yeah, and you get a T-shirt and a skin in the game. Yeah, and the top prize was a trip to London, Tokyo, or one other city I don't. Yeah, or $15,000. The person who won that said, "I want $15,000." Yeah, but anyway, that really popularized that, and went on to create the Star Fox whole series, which Star Fox 64 actually was a reboot of Star Fox and not a direct sequel. The Star Fox 2 actual sequel did not come out until 2017.
Yeah, everybody was waiting on that one, man.
That was Miyamoto's choice. He chose to just skip the Star Fox 2 and reboot the whole series for Star Fox 64, and I mean I like the story better for the 64 version, but the original Star Fox is what we are playing today. And we're going to see how many stages we can get through. I know I've been practicing.
I'll tell you what, I remember when that FX chip hit, everybody was talking about that cart because it had a special chip in it. I went and picked it up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a Viper, this is a Starship game. I'm right up my alley.
That's why the Star Fox game cost more. It cost more than a normal SNES game.
It did.
And they were not making as much profit on it either. And it was used. The Super FX chips was used for a Mario game, a racer game, and I believe, and of course Star Fox 2 if it had come out.
Yeah. Somebody kept saying they never finished that game, but but I see versions of it. I guess
It came out on first the Super NES Classic, the mini console.
Yeah.
And then it came out for the Switch store.
Yeah, is it finished? Is it complete?
Star Fox 2 is finished. It was completely done. They just didn't release it.
Okay.
They sat on it.
That's sad.
It is. It's one of those. It could have been lost media if not for it coming out in 2017.
Oh my God! Well, I tell you what, we gonna come back in a minute in part 2. You understand me? And we're gonna take a look at this spectacular game that Mr. Matthew is talking about. Don't forget about our 500 subscriber giveaway, you dig, in which we will be relinquishing that PlayStation Portable device. You dig, you understand, with a $50 gift card and that Street Fighter 6 Ryu in there. Hold he waiting on you to throw one. I say it all the time, you understand me? And I'll be throwing in that Metroid Dread cover that we drew last anime season. Yeah, let me say it like that. Okay, so we'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. You dig, holla.